I used to think that wisdom and knowledge are the same thing. That's why I used to think that someone who is always the first in class or someone who has a lot of knowledge about lots of things is a wise person. But now I know better. I know that wisdom is far different from knowledge, though knowledge is indispensable if one aspires to become a wise person. Wisdom involves application of knowledge in practical ways to navigate life's challenges and complexities, and it is a quality that develops over time with effort and dedication to personal growth and self-reflection. And its opposite is foolishness. Therefore, if you are not wise, then you are foolish. However, you will agree with me that no one wants to be called foolish, not even the most foolish people. And I don't know how this can be explained, but generally, people hate being told the truth about who they really are when what is being said is negative. And they will enjoy it and even long for it, to be told lies about who they are when the attributes being talked about are positive. But what profit does one receive from this? Because we know that even some of the people who flatter us, who deceive us that we have positive attributes, have their hidden intentions, which are in most cases selfish and not so good. So I would rather be told the truth, however uncomforting that may be, because the truth eventually sets us free. We should know that it doesn't matter what people call you. What matters is who you really are. If, for example, you are a doctor and some ignorant patient addresses you as a nurse, should that make you angry? No, it shouldn't, because though he or she calls you a nurse, you remain a doctor. But some people do get angry when this happens, as if what they are called changes who they really are. I think many of us are not very sure about who we really are. And that's why we get excited when people lie us, when people flatter us and tell us we are good, we are high there, when actually we are not. And that's why we get angered when people say negative things about us. But if we know ourselves and we know that what people say about us doesn't change our reality, then we will keep focused and we will determine our own weather. Probably, this is the point that Jesus wanted to point out when he asked his disciples once and said, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" In other words, who do people say I am? Some say you are John the Baptist, the disciples said. Others say you are Elijah, and others say you are Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Then Jesus turned to the disciples and said, "But you, who do you think I am?" "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God," Peter said. And Jesus said, "You are blessed, Peter, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by man, but by my Father in heaven." Jesus knew who he really was, so it did not matter what other people said. He remained who he was, the Son of the living God. And that's very important. Being rich and being called rich are different things. So if you are called rich when you are poor, that doesn't make you rich. I have heard people quarrel, argue and fume when someone says they are poor. "How dare you say I am poor? Is it you who feeds me?" they ask. "I have life, and life is the greatest of riches. Who are you to call me poor?" Of course, this is very laughable because being poor doesn't mean being dead for sure. No one has said that you are dead. They have simply said you are poor, and in your heart of hearts, you know what that means, unless you are doing what the Banyankore and the Bachiga call okwehabajiza. Okwehabajiza means someone pretending not to know or understand, or someone deliberately choosing to take the wrong path when going somewhere for reasons well known to themselves, when they actually know where the right path is. So, what people don't know is that by quarreling about what people call you, you unconsciously expose your lack of understanding. And that is very sad. I have seen some old men get uncomfortable when they are called muzei, meaning old man. They want to be called young man. I've had some call themselves muzei kijana. Not old, not young, but you're in between there. I once had one old man respond angrily, and this is very interesting, to a greeting in which she was referred to as old lady in our language, mukeikuru. So the young man said, "How are you, mukeikuru?" And her response was, "Omukeikuru ni nyoko." This is very rude, meaning it's your mother who is an old lady, not me. How do you explain that? It seems to me like some sort of madness. Not so. Some of us want to be called honorable when we should be called horrible. Some of us want to be called managers when actually we should be called mismanagers. Some of us want to be called sweetheart when in the actual sense we are bitter heart. I know some nurses enjoy being introduced as doctors, and some technicians love to be introduced as engineers, and the list goes on and on and on. And I think this is a sign of some sickness whose antidote is acquisition of understanding and wisdom. In Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7, the Bible tells us that wisdom is supreme. Therefore, get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. This is a very deep statement, and it implies that getting understanding and therefore wisdom can be costly. You may remember a certain rich young man in the Bible who came to Jesus to ask for what he could do to inherit the kingdom of heaven. When Jesus told him that he had to sell everything he had and give to the poor, the young man walked away sad. And the Bible tells us that this was because he had a lot of wealth. The reason very few people understand and very few people are wise is that acquisition of these virtues sometimes requires one to sell everything they have. And to that suggestion, the majority of us walk away sad like the young rich man in Jesus' day. And for that matter, we turn our back to wisdom. And the result is chaos, insecurity, instability, and misery everywhere. In our families, even in churches, in government departments, and so on and so forth. All of these things, I think, would have been minimized if enough people acquired wisdom and knew how to apply the knowledge to navigate these complexities and challenges of this world. Wisdom is supreme because if we esteem it, it exalts us. If we embrace it, it honors us. It will set a garland of grace on our head and present us with a crown of splendor. This is stated in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 8 and 9. Probably, King Solomon understood the supremacy of wisdom better than any man that has ever lived. He was made king of Israel while he was a young man with little experience. And one day, When he had gone to offer sacrifices at a place called Gibeon, God appeared to him in a dream at night and said to him, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." I'm sure every one of us longs for such an opportunity. But I'm afraid that if that opportunity came, the majority of us would squander it because we have no idea about what the most important things are in life. I'm sure many of us would make an endless list of things that would in no time become useless. But fortunately for us, we can learn from Solomon's story. Because when God gave him an opportunity to ask for whatever he wanted, he said, "Give me a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong." We find that story in 1 Kings chapter 3. What an amazing request. If God posed this question to some of us, I'm sure he would be shocked by some of the requests people would make. Many of us, I'm sure, would ask for wealth. Others would ask for long life. I would not be surprised if some asked for the death of their husbands or wives. I would also not be surprised if some asked for the death of their political opponents, because the media is full of stories about people who have been killed for political reasons, and so on and so forth. And I would also not be surprised if some people asked for the death or disablement of their business colleagues, those with whom they compete in business, because they think maybe they are the ones who are blocking their way to prosperity. But Solomon was smart. He could not ask any of the above things. And we are told that the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to Solomon, "Since you have asked for this, and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked." Praise the living God. This is powerful. "I will give you a wise and discerning heart," said God, "so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings." Praise the living God. This is powerful also. And God meant what he said, because we are told that God gave Solomon very great insight and a breadth of understanding that was as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Wisdom that was greater than the wisdom of the East and greater than the wisdom of Egypt. I think if it was in our day, we would say he was wiser than people like Elon Musk. Some people like that, he would be beating them in wisdom. We are told that as a result of the wisdom that God gave Solomon, Solomon spoke 3,000 proverbs, and that his songs numbered 1,005. We are also told that he described plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows on out of the walls. So he was the equivalent of a modern-day botanist. We are told that he also taught about animals, birds, reptiles, and fish. And I think that makes him an equivalent of a modern-day zoologist. And if that was not enough, we are told that men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by the kings of the world who had heard of his wisdom. Amazing. Amazing. We are told also in that book, chapter 10 of 1 Kings, that a certain queen called the Queen of Sheba heard about the fame of Solomon and his relation to the name of the Lord. And she came to visit him. And we are told that one of the goals that she had, or during her visit, was to test Solomon with hard questions. And we are told that Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for the king to explain to her. Wow. I love this. When this queen saw all the wisdom of Solomon and the palace he had built, the food on his table, the seating of his officials, the attending servants in their robes, his cupbearers, and the burnt offerings he made at the temple of the Lord, she was overwhelmed. The level of organization in the king's palace blew her mind away. And this is what she said. The report I had in my own country about your achievements and your wisdom is true. But I did not believe it until I came and saw them with my own eyes. Indeed, not even half was told me. In wisdom and wealth, you have exceeded the report I had. This is awesome. I know many of us are fond of exaggerating, but it was, this man, Solomon, was so rich, so wise, that it was impossible to exaggerate his achievements. And that's why not even half of his achievements was reported to the Queen of Sheba. If it was in our day, I'm sure some of us would be thinking that maybe Solomon got his wealth from undersea. Here in Africa today, I don't know whether it is true in other continents as well. But here, when someone becomes rich, and people do not understand how exactly he got his riches, they say he must have got this wealth from under the sea. And this under the sea is satanic, actually. They're actually saying it is the devil who gave this person these riches. I don't know how they go under sea. I'm not yet quite conversant with the dynamics of going under sea, but people claim they go under sea and get riches. But interestingly, I have not heard many people say the same thing about wisdom, which makes me wonder why. Is it because people are more interested in riches than in wisdom? And I suspect this is true. This is true. This suspicion must be true. Many people are interested in riches, and very few, I think, are interested in wisdom. But the lesson we must not miss from Solomon's story is that wisdom is the foundation of everything, and this makes it supreme. My goal in this video was to stimulate a burning desire in our hearts to become wise. And the Bible is full of instructions on how wisdom can be achieved. Reading and studying the book of Proverbs alone will catapult you to a level of wisdom where people may think you are a god. If we pursue wisdom, God will make for us a way where there seems to be no way. He will turn our lives around like he did for Solomon, because he has the final say. May God bless you.